My commercials.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You know,
We're
I feel
really
like by like 2-3 minutes. I feel like Say Wong has some psychological trauma leading from his childhood that has to do with being late or something. Like he was beaten with like a wire hanger every time he was like a minute late. This show just causes friction for him in his personal life. I'm sorry for causing you PTSD, Say Wong.
Green face, smiling, green face. What?
Get over it. We're different type of Asians.
No more wire hangers.
Oh, terrible.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Right.
I'm slightly hobbled, but you know that's why I picked this character. My shoulders all jacked up, so I was like, "What can I wear with a sling on?" I was like, "Oh, I could be kind of like Itachi, but not really because I didn't do makeup."
Wait, you got a lot going on right now, right?
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
How's that going?
It's been a rough week.
Hey, what's up, Jacob? Sorry, I'm going to say what's up to one of my friends that are online. What's up? Yeah. Well, you've got your show coming up. You've got Pride coming up. When is Pride celebration?
June 10th.
June 10th.
So just a little less than a month.
Yes. We literally hit that marker like a day ago, and then the rent opens up on the 15th. So I go from Pride right into Hell Week, as we call it.
Wow.
So
No rest for the wicked.
This is also very true.
What's going on with everybody else? Did I do? Okay, so who all just came off the gaming stream?
I was there for a tiny bit and then I left.
Me.
I was sleeping for the last 2 hours because I did not sleep for shit last night.
Oh no. I'm sorry.
And Son of Fours was there too.
Oh yes, the Son of Fours. Lucas was there.
Oh, Lucas? Luke?
Yeah, same name.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm blasting through these comments. I'm not even able to like read all of what's going on here.
I hit you up in the group chat, Van, to let you know that he was on because he wanted to meet you.
Aww.
Oh, he can come on the show. Oh no, not this show, maybe.
Oh no, he took Zelda from me and ran back to his room, so he's back on his game now.
Yeah,
I was watching your
there
guys'.
too. Yep.
I was watching your guys' gaming the other night when you were doing like I guess people's levels or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, those things are so hard. Those people are on crack.
That was a fun time. That was a fun time.
Yes, fun.
Maybe you should let Neto take the Wow, say what? You're speaking so extra tonight.
You know, Say Wong, I started the show on time too. You could throw me a little bone of credit.
Okay, you know what? We were here on time. Mezzo was explaining like differences in different videos.
He's Say Wong's just going ham tonight. That's
No,
what
man.
it is.
Say Wong's he's got that pent up rage. I think I tapped a nerve.
He's a little turkey and cheese with that ham.
I'll take a slice of avocado and some lettuce, please. Thank you.
I am very excited. Okay, so I want to talk to you. I want to tell you guys before we start our big topics tonight. We have some exciting news. I put out a message in the boards a while ago about KyberCon 2.5. What it or 3.5 I meant. But what it really is it's going to be the 10th annual Saber Battle in the Park in Sacramento. Last year, this was the first event. Mezzo came out with us too. We had a great time. But this year, we're trying to blow it since it's the 10th annual. We're trying to blow it off the roof the way the Kyber Cave does. We're going to be adding in celebrities. We're going to add in celebrity Star Wars locals that live here. They'll be out there. It's going to be a free outdoor con. So this is a little different in this area in that, as you guys know, like in Northern California, there's like friggin' 12 cons a weekend. But I have yet to see a free outdoor con. This will be completely free to the public. You can come and meet these celebrities. We'll have 100 vendors there. It'll be in a free park, no admission. You can enter the battles. We'll have the combat grade sabers, and we'll even have, the fun plastic sabers if you don't have the budget for a combat grade. We'll have all kinds of things, and it'll just be a great place for Star Wars fans to come together and have a good time. One of the things that I personally meant as we, this is a great segue into our. Damn it! I don't want to talk about that one first. What do you guys want to talk about? Carrie Fisher.
Damn it!
The other one first. The 20-year one first.
Let's do Carrie Fisher first.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, you know what? I'll leave this segue for later because I came up with it, David.
Oh boy,
a good segue. No, it wasn't going to be dirty.
Damn it!
You said it was a good.
It was a good segue.
Good
all right. Okay. So, Carrie Fisher and her impact and legacy. Point out. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Carrie Fisher and her impact and legacy. Of course, you guys know Carrie Fisher on May 4th, befittingly finally got her star. Mark Hamill and her daughter were out there to accept on her behalf.
Yeah.
And it was I think even Harrison Ford videoed in the comments or something like that. So it was obviously a very touching and moving time for a lot of people. A lot of people say it was much overdue.
Well, but, they waited till 5 years after she died? Shit.
Yeah.
Right. But she had an impact on a lot of culture and movies, even outside of Star Wars. So I thought, maybe we'd talk about that. And then, maybe if we finish talking about Carrie Fisher, we can talk about other celebrities or other people that have passed maybe recently that have had a major impact on who we are kind of as people.
Well, I got dibs on Gilbert Godfrey.
I know somebody, probably Aaron and Grave are going to kill me here. Well, probably Captain. Well, actually, all of you guys. Who was the artist who died recently that did the voice for Batman?
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy.
See,
I'm sorry, Graveyard. Kevin Conroy.
Victorian.
Captain.
So there's a lot of great and influential artists who have sometimes shaped our lives and we've not even really thought about their impact and their influences. And so I thought we'd talk about that. What have you to say?
Do you want to go first?
Who? Which one?
Bueller. Anybody?
Bueller.
Well, I know that Carrie Fisher has had a lot of impact on women,
right?
Because she wasn't just a princess that needs saving; she was an icon.
She was a general.
She was a general. Yeah. Hey, don't let me finish. Yeah, she was a general. So, And yeah, she was spirited, and she didn't take no for an answer. So yeah, that was kind of she started that whole. I think she started a lot of the strong women, not even just strong women, but women being more seen as like people in a way, not just as these damsels that need to be saved, which is really cool, at least in the media. Of course,
Did
you have to
Alien come out before or after Star Wars?
I think after. Well, after.
1980, 1979.
79. Yeah.
Right. So Leia was one of kind of the first of the strong women.
Yeah, and then Terminator came out in 83.
Oh, Graveyard might have something.
I did just watch all the 70s raw, uncut sexual assault revenge movies this past week. So I Spit in Your Grave, which came out late 70s, and you had other ones like Don't Go in the Basement or Axe that are portrayed as horror movies where it is a revenge story, and other than Last House Left, the women live and take their revenge. So those came out before Star Wars.
That's awesome.
So
right.
And unfortunately, those are really hard to watch.
Yeah,
that's really hard to watch, and it's really hard to discuss too. But yeah, I mean, I think it was more of a Leia was a more of the biggest mainstream one because a lot of people didn't watch these horror movies I tend to watch, especially in the 70s. So yeah, it's great that it happened, and I think Ripley kind of helped cement it as well with Sigourney Weaver in it. To Captain's point is that she was a badass. She didn't need to be rescued. Period. Unfortunately, Leia did have to get rescued from the Death Star originally and taken away from
plan. She was already working on that plan though, and it was just convenient that they came to rescue her. She's like, I already had a plan to get out of here, guys.
And even on that, she was like, you had a plan to get me in, but not out. She's like, into the that's that's really when you see the first time you see her as not the damsel in distress, but a woman that could take charge of her own. She blasted the garbage chute and jumped in.
Oh yeah, and she wasn't the help me either. Even when she was being tortured by Vader, she was not giving up the information. So she was, even while she was captured, she was tortured and strong.
The whole planet was destroyed.
Yeah,
right.
The whole planet.
Right.
I lost my mentor. Oh, I'm so sad. Everything. Yeah. Okay, that's nice, buddy.
Well, and then the one time she does get objectified later with Jabba, she strangles
the shit out of him.
Yes. Powerful lady.
Yes.
Okay, but like her as a person, I know also did a lot because didn't she speak a lot on like mental illness and like addiction and things like that too? Yeah.
That's the other thing, is that she was very, very open about her addictions, very open about even nepotism. She was very open about all of that, which was really interesting. I think she had bipolar disorder.
Yes, I believe you're correct.
And she spoke about all of that. She spoke about her addiction issues. And the impact of fame and such that had on her. She was very open about her relationships too.
Right.
So really interesting. So she was kind of this woman that was like, tell all. She wasn't afraid of saying anything about what needed to be said. The taboo subjects, that was something that she was always very open about, which is great.
And a lot of people don't remember, she went directly I believe it's one of the other way around, but I think she went directly from Star Wars to Blues Brothers. Or was it Blues Brothers to Star Wars?
It was Star Wars to Blues Brothers.
Star Wars to Blues Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Completely different 180 from Princess Leia type.
Yeah.
Fours, what say you?
Yeah, snapping on something. Shoot.
I mean,
come on, buddy.
I mean, I named my daughter after her. That's kind of a big thing. Everybody everybody pretty much nailed it on the head. I mean, the only thing that I could add was she struggled for most of her adult life. at 24, she was diagnosed as bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy because like in a lot of her roles, especially when she gets upset in Star Wars, like when you see her get mad, like she really straight gets mad. Like she really delivers it, which is good. I mean, I consider her character probably one of the most relatable and real characters on that screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and not only that, but despite her annoyances and her anger, she's the one who keeps it together the whole time.
Yep.
And that's actually really great. So, but no, everybody else pointed it all out.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that about, you know, the her acting, but like the real emotions coming in, because I had this moment happen even Monday. So for those of you who didn't already know, my dog passed away this last Saturday, and it was very heartbreaking. It came out of nowhere, and of course, you know, I'm going into a rehearsal for a show that there's a lot of charged emotions, and as we're doing this run, you know, there's a whole part in Another Day where like I really tap into my feelings and I get emotional, and I'm trying to dig with that stuff. And it was cute because afterwards, all my castmates were all like, "Hey, like, so were you like really crying during that song just now?" And I was like, "Wow, yeah." And they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Well, for the most part, yeah, but like, you do know that I'm also acting, correct?" Yes, I'm channeling something that's happened recently to kind of get me there, but at the same time, like, I'm trying to do that on purpose. I hope that you realize that. But it did make me also feel kind of good, because it's like, hey, at least that's really reacting with the people on the stage, that they realize, holy shit, he's emotional right now.
Yeah.
They kind of tap into it too.
Right.
So I think that's important though, as actors, that, you know, you have to kind of bring yourself there into those moments. I know that once we finally get this whole show together and we get to the finale, like, there's a moment right after one big ass long high note that I sing that I get to cry. And I am looking forward to that moment because it's going to make everyone else fucking cry.
Oh, why can't I be there?
I better not get a single solitary note like, Anthony, I don't think you should be crying like that. Bitch, have you lost a loved one? This is how you cry. So we'll see when it gets there. Otherwise,
it's not fair.
Just be better.
Hey, so you know, on that point of view, you know, we're talking about Carrie Fisher. I remember hearing in the interview with Mark Hamill how he was saying he went into a depression when he was doing Empire, because on the whole Dagobah set, I guess he said, you know, he spent almost 2 months in almost isolation with just him responding to puppets. And so not being able to respond to other human beings.
Right.
Oh, Ark, you just muted yourself.
Ark, you muted yourself.
Oh, he knows that. Okay. So on that note, I heard Ian McKellen had a similar experience when they were filming the Hobbit trilogy, because, you know, that needed to be a trilogy for reasons. Anywho.
Don't know why, but okay.
He had a similar thing where being on that green screen and not really having actual things to interact with, he's like, this is not what I became an actor for. And like that entire cast and crew had to like cheer him up by bringing a bunch of stuff to his trailer as a result of it.
Right. Well, I guess what I was going to ask, what I was going to ask, the further reason I got into that is, as an actor, and I know you were able to kind of tap into this recent personal thing that happened with you and your husband. Is that difficult to do? Can you do that? Let's say if you've got a show that runs 2 weeks, 5 nights each week, can you do that and tap into that each night?
I think the importance on that is the practice. So if you go into a scene and you know that you need to, you know, get emotional or get to some level of that, like there's been times that like at rehearsal I can cry, you know, no problem, but like come the actual show, it might not happen. But That's why you kind of have to take in those moments. How are you breathing? What is your body doing? Because just like certain breath palpitations can get you there.
Right.
And it's also kind of, again, tapping into some other core memory moments of where did you feel this emotion yourself? Because it'll bring you back to that, and then it'll allow you to genuinely feel it. There's another moment later where my character and another character kind of get angry for the first time at each other. And it was fun because playing off of this other actor, after we were done, it's like, I kind of like us getting mad at each other. That felt like authentic. It's like, yeah, it's a raw moment where two people who have been besties this entire show really dig hard at each other in a very personal level. And that's kind of what I really appreciate about this show and its cast and especially our director, is that he's allowing us to really delve into these backgrounds with these characters and kind of develop something that makes it feel a bit more authentic. It's not just play the part, sing the notes. It's also give us this emotion that people are feeling in these moments, which is tricky to do. I'm going to tell you right now, the worst thing you could do as a singer is try to cry and sing, because those two things don't really mix well.
I've done it.
Once you start getting any kind of waterworks going, like it clenches your throat. It makes it very difficult to produce any real sound. You get snot going. Like there's a whole train of things that will fuck you up. So, and that's why I mean, like even at that last note, I get to cry once it's over, because by that point, I know I don't have to sing anything else. If I do it before then, I'm fucked. It's going to be no, we don't need that. Nobody came to pay money to hear somebody crack a fucking note like that. So yeah, it's fun stuff.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I did like high school acting, but it's been so long since I've had to do that type of act, and it's completely different for film, and then stage as well. Trying to get back to different spots emotionally. I'd say sometimes for me, it's actually harder to do for film than it is for stage, because in stage, at least you're kind of following the story and you know where you need to be emotionally. When you're doing, something for film, sometimes it's cut completely out of context. So you might have gone from a scene where you're, in love with someone to a scene where you're screaming and you hate their guts or something. So I kind of feel like stage
or
is a little
those
bit.
scenes are like 5 months apart. So
Right. And then the other difference being that, on stage, you have to tap into it night after night. Whereas in acting, you just got to nail it, one good time.
I mean, going take after take after take is pretty awful.
Right.
You can just cry of sheer frustration if you're not getting it take after take. It is pretty awful. But it is a practice. So you have to be able to come and get those emotions as much as you can. Right now, I'm working on a scene at the moment where I have to cry.
Right.
Yeah.
And what would you like to say about that? I mean, is it challenging to do? I mean, is it something that you know how to tap into, or
sometimes? Sometimes. I mean, it's crying is actually really hard for me. Like doing all the other emotions are pretty easy. Crying, but if you put on a song, it's really easy, because then I just start crying.
Just show me the end to either Home Alone 1 or 2, and it'll get me there. Like, I'm not, as soon as he sees his mom, I'm just like, although I will say that I want to. I can't remember if I heard this from an actor or where it was from, but typically in those moments, it's the trying not to cry that comes off more genuinely than like if just tears start pouring out your eyes.
Yep.
Because most people in those moments aren't wanting to cry. They are trying to hold back those tears.
And that is usually what happens to me all the time. It's like, I want to cry, but then I also don't want to cry. So it's like this warring thing. So I'm like trying to get the emotion out while also like, this is stupid. I don't want to cry. Like, I don't want to cry. So your like eyes get kind of misted, but it's like not coming. You're like, why isn't it? It's awful.
It can't be forced.
No, it can't. It cannot be forced. But
Graveyard, have you
Yes.
have you had I think is mostly kind of our movie resident expert. Have you had any celebrity passings in the last year or two that have kind of struck you?
In the past couple of years, not. I mean, Kevin Conroy was a big thing. Obviously, Jason David Frank growing up on Power Rangers was big. You might find this hard to believe. I'm not very an emotional person, so it takes a lot for me to get swept up into that. It's and why I was never able to show emotion while I was acting in drama and theater and all that stuff is because it's hard for me to envision that stuff in my head. So I don't generally think about stuff like that. It's easier for me to get angry and stuff like that than is the sadness. So, when Bruce Campbell inevitably dies, will I be sad? Yes, but is it going to affect me? Probably not as much as I love Bruce Campbell. But there's, I guess, let's say Lance Reddick, because Captain Zavala from Destiny. It's someone that you play thousands of hours, or I think I played 1,000 hours of Destiny this past year in 2022, and knowing that's something that you hear him personally say, and that he played the game as well, and that he's not going to be able to do that voice anymore. So I think it's impactful because it's someone you hear on a day-to-day basis when you're playing it. So that'd probably be my answer is Lance Reddick, just because it's a game that I started being friends with Salem over years ago, and so I guess that is a good thing for me. And I met some good friends playing that too. So is it going to be awful playing without him? Yeah, it's going to be different. It's going to say when the Muppets sound weird when someone else does his voice eventually.
Right.
And I think with that too is I always thought that especially with going back to a little bit of Carrie Fisher and her death, is would I have, say, the Carrie Fisher only can play Princess Leia? I don't think so, because I would rather have had the character still exist and still carry on her legacy.
Well, I mean,
someone else.
They did do it, but just CG, right?
But I mean, just overall replace you can have the character still there. Yes, are they tied to it? Absolutely. Carrie Fisher made Princess Leia, but another actor could have done it and still carry on the legacy and kept her character alive. And, someone else voiced her in video games or stuff like that. That's great, but replaced her on that.
I feel like that's kind of poignant for how Black Panther 2 turned out, because the passing of Chadwick Boseman obviously played a huge part in that script, and how they must have redeveloped it as a result of it. And I think a lot of people kind of said the same thing, where like, why did his character have to die if we could have just recast it? At the same time, that genuine emotion that all of that cast and crew felt with him really played well into that script as a result of it, because those emotions were genuine.
Right.
They were literally mourning the passing of that person. So I think it ended up becoming one of the better strengths of Black Panther 2, even though there's plenty of things in that script that I could be like, okay, can we talk about this MacGuffin real quick?
Yes.
As far as celebrities that kind of hit hard for me, I know that when Stan Lee passed, that was kind of a strangely big deal. I mean, obviously the man was like 185. Like, come on, let's not be twisted. He was meant to go, but I remember that shortly after that, we had done a Marvel versus DC night at my club in Sacramento, and a drag king came as him and did like a monologue in the middle of the number, and it got me. I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to cry over. Bitch, I'm in makeup. Can we not? And even his like little last cameo, I think in Endgame, it hit hard, because you knew that they had done that in advance, and we weren't going to have any more of those really. And it was poignantly placed in like the perfect movie for it. So that's all cute. But yeah, otherwise it is difficult for me to kind of get on that level of like, oh my God, I love this celebrity so much. Like I would just shatter if something happened to them. Now, on the other hand, Eli, if something were to ever happen to Angelina Jolie, that boy is going to lose his shit. he loves her. Her and Kelly Clarkson, those two.
What an odd combo.
Right. It's because he's from Oakdale. It's blaming it entirely on that.
And what about people like, why are there certain people like, I remember when Betty White passed, like collectively as a nation, people like, there's certain people that people are just like, just don't fuck with this one person.
Yeah.
And you know, that was Betty White.
Well, she was a treasure. She was a downright fucking treasure. And I mean, I still swear that her and Queen Elizabeth had like some sort of like death pact of like whoever survives the longest gets the treasure for everybody, like one of those things. So obviously Queen Elizabeth won.
I can't see, like, I can only imagine the only other person that I can imagine this country going crazy like that about is if Dolly Parton passed. If Dolly Parton, when she eventually ever goes,
I mean, she is a pretty amazing person. I
mean, she is, but I don't think the entire Tennessee, yeah. But
you don't think so? You don't think Dolly Parton's a huge icon even outside of like
a huge icon? But it'd be like Michael Jackson, and even then, not as much. Michael Jackson, when he passed, that was a huge fucking deal.
It was. I cried all day.
Yeah, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. But he was also like younger than what we would expect that to happen. Like even when Prince passed, he was like 52, right?
Yep. I mean, he was 60, I thought.
Maybe even still, it was one of those things that kind of came out of nowhere. Like, damn, I didn't think that was going to happen.
And his death was really weird. It was very mysterious.
Well, his was very similar to Michael. I feel like where it was like a
drug pill overdose.
Bringing it back to Carrie Fisher and drug dependencies. But
I mean, he had more amount in his system and he had been clean for a long time. So that was like, it was very odd. A lot of people said it was really odd. He had not touched the stuff in years. And he didn't want to touch any of that. So it's like, wow.
Nice.
So it was one of those weird, just like a lot of people actually think he was murdered, interestingly enough.
That's crazy. I know that even when Carrie Fisher passed, her mother went very quickly.
Oh yeah, Debbie Reynolds.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is definitely the fact that she died of a broken heart.
Oh
that was
I want to say it was like 6 days later or something like that. Wasn't it?
Very quickly afterwards.
Broken heart syndrome.
And when that happened, I actually did a tribute performance to Debbie Reynolds. Where I came out and I did Mother Earth and Father Time from Charlotte's Web.
Aww.
So it was one of those moments that I really was feeling my performance, and then like everyone who was 20 years younger than me was going, "The fuck is this song?" Like, so
I'm right there with you, Anthony. I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. I'm like, that's such a sweet. Oh,
I want
that makes me all teary-eyed.
Are you kidding me? That's one of my favorite pieces of all time. But
I love Charlotte's Web. It's such a great movie.
What about you?
You could tell we were both born in the 80s.
Yeah, Forrest, you're so goddamn quiet in the corner over there.
Yeah.
Well, geez, Anthony, if you would quit your goddamn talking. I'm just kidding.
Shut the fuck up, Rubik's.
That was me.
Hey, Rubik's.
Oh my dude! Wow,
Shut the fuck up.
I don't know. I feel kind of disconnected in a way. I mean, I want to say I've had that moment, and I think I will have that moment again. But for me, it's a little different. I actually had that moment of heartbreak, and again, this is goofy as freak, but for me, it's special because you guys all know that 90s X-Men was my thing. It was my jam growing up. It was very, 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 very special. And I was still making sound fonts, and I just completed, Van, you've heard this story. I just completed my Cyclops font, Leader X. 3 days later, Norm Spencer, the voice of Cyclops, he passed away. And that day, like I was all proud of the font and everything, and I was making the video. And I found out it happened, and I just kind of like shut down shut down for the day because number one, he's my favorite character. He's a fantastic voice actor, and I love the character. I've always loved him in the comics. I loved him on screen. Voice was perfect. It was just a perfect character, and I had gone to so much trouble making this font because it was just something I did from the heart. And at the very beginning of the video, if you go to my channel and watch it, I mean, it's rest in peace, Norm Spencer, or in honor of Norm Spencer. And that one hurt. Like that one genuinely hurt. For the longest time, I thought, when Mark Hamill eventually goes, that one's gonna hurt, and it will. But being who I am now, like, and the fact that he is getting up there in age, I don't think it's gonna hurt as bad. I mean, he was. I mean, come on, I named my son after him. He was the Joker, the only Joker. #my Joker.
Right.
And, and that will be the death of a dream.
Clock knocker.
Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal human being, but I just don't think that one's gonna hurt. What's gonna hurt? What's really gonna hurt? Bad. It's gonna be Patrick Stewart.
Yeah,
that's gonna hurt me bad because
that's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, for obvious reasons. And the other reason is, I mean, that Next Generation is another one of those things that I grew up with, and it's one of those things that brought my mom and I close before she got sick. Yeah. So when Captain Picard goes, it's going to be a bad day for me.
And me, don't worry.
Oh, I know. Wow. Believe me, I know. So, but aside from that, like when Michael passed, I was actually in shock. Like I didn't even know how to take that. I was like, dude, I was just kind of, this isn't real. This isn't happening. This dude is healthy. He's thin. He's top of his game. He had just finished. Didn't he just finish doing like a whole world tour? He had a DVD coming out. About to start, yeah. And like and somebody was in the middle of a biography for him. Like that one was like, I didn't have time to feel emotion. I was like, dude, this isn't happening. And it happened. So that one was very, very shocking. Whitney kind of hurt.
Do you guys have any I only have one example I can think of, but do you guys have any examples of you can remember exactly where you were or what you were doing when you found out a certain person passed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not a celebrity.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bueller.
Well, I mean, you didn't ask me what character's death or what actor's death impacted me, but that's fine. It's cool.
Well, I figured somebody would start, so you could start. Go ahead.
I've had quite a few actually that have really hit me.
I remember two of them.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy and Jason David Frank actually really impacted me. I was not okay. I was not okay. I think I was kind of inconsolable when Jason David Frank passed. That was really hard. So.
See, tap into that for when you need to cry in that scene.
Yeah, I'm trying not to cry right now because that was really hard.
Exactly.
I was on the phone with her for a long time that day. That was a hard ass day. That was a hard day.
I hate November. November sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really hard actually. And there's been quite a few. Actually Jonathan Brandis hit me really hard. I was really depressed after that one. So hit me for a really long time. So, and then, so that was pretty much it. And then Michael Jackson, I was inconsolable for a whole day. I was actually at my fiance's house because I lived there, but I walked out and it was on the TV, and the first thing I did was call my mom because it was really impactful and awful, and it hurt. So yeah, I cry easily with things like this.
Do you think like the different people's statuses and where they are in the world make us feel differently. Like for some reason, now that I'm thinking about it, it seems that musicians passings affect people more than say actors. And then say Wong over here is saying, when Michael Jordan passes, I'm sure that that's going to be a huge one. But now that I think about it, I don't think of a lot of sports people when they pass as much as I do say, particularly musicians. Musicians are the ones that seem to affect me the most.
I think the reason why people feel so many emotions and why it oh, I'm sorry, I love you. But it's I think the reason why, at least with actors or with Pele, a lot of people were really sad. But it was more just because he was a really good person too. He did a lot of good things. But with actors, certain actors, and with musicians, they have an impact on people because they make us feel things, and they show us how we can break down our own walls and how we can change and how we can, come to ourselves. Like they show us what in some cases some people are afraid to even show. And that's why they're really important. And they make us think a lot of deeper things. And I think that's why we express and we feel those emotions. Like with Michael wanted to make the world a better place. He wanted to bring change with music, and that was really impactful. You have people that are trailblazers like Carrie Fisher, for instance. She wanted to bring happiness. She wanted to impact women, young women. She wanted to show them that they didn't just need to be some good-looking damsel in distress, and that was really important.
And I was, from what I understand, that same kind of Leia spirit was also how Carrie Fisher was behind the scenes. Like she was very like direct and telling George Lucas, hey, I think this line would work better if we did it this way, blah blah blah. And she was only 19 years old when she did Star Wars. I find that absolutely amazing.
And the I was gonna say something and I can't remember what I was gonna say.
I was gonna say she was a script doctor for a lot of movies that we don't know about.
She is.
She did a lot of script work for a lot of people, and I don't think she got the recognition she deserved for all the script writing she actually did.
Actually, one of my favorite roles that she was in, people don't talk about because she wasn't one of the main stars, but she absolutely killed it in When Harry Met Sally. She was Sally's best friend. That hooks up with Harry's best friend, and she was absolutely fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, she's great in that movie.
I was going to say, I think to Van's point, why we feel musicians hit us a little harder than, say, sometimes actors. Music, I've always said this for years, that music is the language of the soul.
Yes.
It is
I say the same
capable of making us feel emotions just from a few chords. You could tell the intention of a song by the way that it's played. And music really does resonate with people as far as the moments in their life. What I find fascinating is that, back in the day, I remember going to, say Walmart with my mom, and they'd always be playing something from like the Eagles or, the Rolling Stones, this and that. Now I go in, they're playing Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's my turn now. Like they're hitting that nostalgia hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, even as a child, I remember I was like 5 when this happened, but when like Selena passed away, that was a big deal. And I know a big part of it was also because I went to such a ESL heavy school. So, that was a huge icon for a lot of my classmates. They had the t-shirts and everything. That decimated an entire community because it was so unexpected. She was so young. She was on this huge rise and had already done so much to bring music from another country into this mainstream. I still say to this day, if Selena hadn't died, Jennifer Lopez would not be nearly as big as she is. She owes 90% of her fame to that movie doing well.
Interesting point.
I mean, she's also a great She's a great actress. I do think she is.
She is, but she's got mostly rom-com stuff like that. That's like her only big serious dramatic role outside of I think the one where she does Krav Maga to beat her ex-husband or something.
Yeah, that's called. Oh my God, what is that movie called? Impact. I think it's called Impact.
Maybe. Sounds about right.
Something like that. It's actually a really good movie.
It is a really good movie.
A really good movie. It's so good. Yeah, music.
And then we have Monster in Law.
But Monster in Law is fun. No, but music, to your point, I mean, music is a language. You look at theory and you look at how all of that works. It actually correlates with emotion. And like, that's why they have the whole theory and like key signatures expressing different emotions. And these things are universal. You seem to, that's why some people were like, music isn't universal. Yes, it's one of the only universal languages that there are. So that is, I think that is why certain musicians do impact us harder than others, or certain, that's why musicians in general impact us. I was going to say something about JDF. The reason, Enough, that's what it was called, Enough. Thank you, Metza. I couldn't remember what it was called. But JDF passing, the reason, it was like how he passed that really impacted me, and it was him committing suicide. Actually, was really that was kind of thing, because he was also one of those people that was very open about his mental health issues and about depression. And he was like, even if you feel depressed, don't give up. He was kind of like the face of that in a way. He was like, everyone holds such a important space, and even though it feels like everything is dark right now, it's going to be brighter morning because you can get through it. I mean, it was one of those things. So when he committed suicide, it was a very spur of the moment thing. We found out that, that was kind of that whole slap in the face of everything he talked about. Not even necessarily a slap in the face. It was just sad. It was sad because he had fought so hard and for so long to get through those things. I think that's partially it.
Say Wong's mentioning Harold Ramis' passing.
Yeah.
As being one that, I mean, you saw that obviously a lot with the Ghostbusters, the Ghost Heads.
Yeah.
Harold
Ramis. Yeah, from Ghostbusters. That's what we're talking about. Harold Ramis.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that when I saw Afterlife, that part made me cry. I was bawling at the end of it, and because I thought it was a really beautiful tribute. It's a way to do a tribute correctly to me. And it was cool because the thing is, my mom didn't even know he had passed away. And she goes, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "Because they did this tribute to him and he's dead. He died." And she's like, "What?" She goes, and then she starts crying. I'm from a whole family of softies. Anyways, you can take the thing off of me now. I'm done talking.
What about you, Van? What about you, Van?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really say. I don't really get. I have a different relationship with death than a lot of people do. I don't really feel like it affects me in the same way. Legit Jedi is saying Jason David Frank, who you were mentioning earlier. Did he do anything besides Power Rangers? Or
he did. So
was he known for anything?
He opened up a martial arts school and helped a lot of kids. Basically, that's...
Not to mention the fact he spent the majority of his adult life, young adult and adult life, trying to become, what was it? Like his final achievement, he had to go all the way to Thailand, and he was awarded like 11th Dan belt. Like, I mean, it was a stupidly high honor somebody as young as him could achieve. I mean,
was it from Muay Thai?
He was.
So he was obviously serious about his martial arts.
I mean, if he went to Thailand, that's what I'm guessing.
Extremely serious.
He had been to Japan several times to get that level degree. He had, he just wanted to help kids get out of a hard place, and that was kind of his whole thing. So that was, it was important for him.
Yeah.
Him and Walter,
Walter
the guy
Jones?
that played Zach,
Walter Jones.
Yeah, him and Walter Jones were actually best friends, and they opened up a dojo together from the Power Ranger money, which is really great. It's really yeah.
I will say other actors that I'm sad to see them pass before they really got to achieve even better greatness. Was Heath Ledger and Hoffman. Those two, if they had stayed around a little longer, would have come up with some of the best movies ever.
I actually think Anton Yelchin would have done amazing stuff as well. He was on his way. I don't know who that is.
Anton Yelchin?
Anton Yelchin. Sorry, I said his name wrong. Anton Yelchin.
He was the Russian guy in the new
he was
trilogy.
Yeah, he was why am I hitting suddenly a blank here?
We're emotional. It happened.
I'm a Star Trek geek and nerd and I can't even think about who he was. Oh my god.
He was the bridge guy.
Walter Cohen's character. Chekhov. He was Chekhov.
Yeah. Did you ever see the remake of Fright Night?
No.
He was the main kid.
The original one.
Did you see Green Room with him and Patrick Stewart?
No.
About the punk band playing for Nazis.
There's one that he did that was just where he played a Russian assassin.
Mm-hmm.
That one was actually, I can't remember what it's called, but it's actually really.
And he was also
like your normal action impacted, and actually, it's a really dramatic film.
Yeah, he was in Charlie something with Robert Downey Jr. as his dad.
Yeah, apparently no one knows. No, he died really young. He passed away. 2017.
Yeah, he was getting mail, and his car got released and got run over by his own car.
Mm-hmm. He got pinned.
Well, I know that River Phoenix was one of those too.
River Phoenix died from an accidental overdose doing Speed and 8 Ball. And it was a bad mix, and it was the first time he had ever done drugs, and he was doing it for a part.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those weird freak accidents.
Hi, Kat. How are you?
That one was really sad.
You're freaking me out.
And
hi.
A lot of people, actually, including I think Johnny Depp was there. I think, and I think also that it wasn't Johnny Depp. It was there. I think that he had a few. There were a few people there that.
Anywho, I feel like we've gotten completely off topic. What? We do that here? Never.
No, this is about people's impact and about like their deaths and how they impacted you in a way. I mean, yes, it's about Carrie Fisher as well.
It was a segue into other artists.
Yeah, we can do that.
Segue into a segue. Segue.
Amazing.
Van, you said something about a segue earlier that you were just itching to do. Where'd you go?
Yeah, and then I totally forgot.
Getting too heavy.
We were talking about
We
were talking about changes into the next segue. Trying to get Robin Williams. That's another good one.
Yeah, Robin Williams was a good one.
That one hurt too.
That one hurt.
Yeah, that one made me depressed.
I mean, it's sad when you hear that the people who make you laugh the hardest are the ones that are going through the worst.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, that seems to be kind of standard for comedians. I hear a lot of comedians deal with depression, and it's like we literally have to make people laugh because we are constantly depressed. Like, fun. I want to try stand up.
And sometimes they have a different eye of seeing things that we all see. Yeah. But that's a different way of saying it.
And sometimes it takes broken people to fix broken people.
Yeah, sometimes. It's true.
That's a good point. All right, let's get on to the next topic. I don't know what the segue that I had going. I can't remember what we were talking about at the time. I thought that would have been perfect for segue. But anyways, 20 years from now and 20 years ago. 20 years ago was 2003.
Yeah, you should have said 30 years ago.
Shut up.
It's so weird how that happens. Like the numbers never seem to like line up in your head. You know what I mean? Like
I just graduated.
Like 20 years ago? What year did you graduate?
2003.
Me too.
Oh, wow. So, Aubrey, since you have graduated from high school, what no longer exists that you had no idea would not exist?
Touch tone phones on the wall.
We had a phone still. What existed then that doesn't exist now? Fax machines used to be a thing still. I mean, they still sort of still exist, but they're.
Were you using those?
Yeah.
Ooh, say Wong with the hard hit.
Say Wong. What does that say Wong got? Let's see.
What do you
Toys
say?
R Us.
Toys R Us. Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster. Blockbuster. That was such a huge part of childhood. It was like every weekend going to the Blockbuster.
VHS stores. You were watching VHS in 2000.
Hoping that it wasn't all rented out. Didn't they have like the GameStop attached to them at that point?
Except
like
back
that?
then it was EB.
EB.
Was it? I don't know.
GameStop used to be Electronics Boutique.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
I don't
only
even remember that moniker. Shit.
I know. I only remember GameStop, and
Dude, I worked at a Hollywood Video. In fact, my store manager now at Kyber Cave, I met him when he was the store manager at Blockbuster back in the day.
Wow. See what else?
Hollywood Video. I used to live it, but I'm thinking about things like. Do you remember how we used to have like
iPods?
Those watches that had like little calculators on them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez, I'm crow, dude. You're taking me back to 1987 on that one.
What's
like
this?
we don't have.
Not
I think phone books have been. We're still in existence in 2003 because the internet wasn't quite. You didn't go there for everything quite yet.
Right.
I still had to memorize everyone's number.
Exactly.
I remember having a landline back then. That was fun.
Yeah.
For me, I guess Facebook. Or not Facebook.
MySpace.
MySpace was the shit 20 years ago, and now it's like, does anybody still use MySpace? I don't know. Maybe.
I wish we did, dude. MySpace was so much better.
I do like that you could do the whole like customized background and like a song that played for it. I was like an emo kid that put James Blunt's "You're Beautiful."
You're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
So many nerdy things from
such a
MySpace.
nerdy thing. I remember a website way back then that was like really popular that I don't think anybody like that was born since then knows of, and it's homestarrunner.com. Did you guys ever hear that one?
No.
Strong bad emails? What? Okay, Graveyard's nodding his head.
Thank you,
sir.
T-Bombs
was a man.
Yes.
He was a dragon man. Well, he was just a dragon. But he was Trogdor! Yeah.
Oh, wait, I do know this.
Like the dragon that everybody drew in elementary school.
Yeah.
Start with an S.
And then
you make a more different S.
They did the back.
And a bunch of V's for the scales.
So I mean,
Jeeves.
I have a big one from 20 years ago. That was
MapQuest.
My hair.
Your hair.
Fair one for you.
All right, what do you got, Grave?
Oh man.
I mean, there's a lot. Obviously, I graduated in 2002, so close to 20 years ago. But I mean, how's my life changed? I had got married, but I was with my wife 20 years ago. I was in the field 20 years ago. I was dealing, I had internet, I had DSL, and I was doing all the networking stuff. So for a lot of that stuff, that hasn't changed for me because I'm still.
I mean, I was telling myself I was straight 20 years ago. That was a big change.
Really, Anthony?
Yes. I mean, in retrospect, I was gay as shit since I was 5. I didn't see it like everyone else did, but everyone else totally saw me as gay before I did.
Everyone was still waiting for Attack of the Clones, and they thought it was going to be great.
Oh God!
Why did we think that after episode 1?
Ooh, the preemptive strike from her tonight.
I have to fight back. I felt a little weak ass bitch earlier, so I had to do something. Oh, BitTorrent was hella new back then.
I would
BitTorrent.
strongly disagree that file sharing's existed since the existence of the internet. Sorry.
We had there was Napster.
Napster and ShareBear.
But it's just file sharing. It was
Yeah.
existence since the internet. That was the whole purpose of the internet. So
Well, again, I remember printing out MapQuest just to find my way
There
to
you
a
go.
place, and
That's
that
true.
was
I had to
even
memorize
fucking
everywhere if I went
eternity.
somewhere because hell, I didn't know where anything was.
When
No,
was the
you know
era
what?
of beepers? What was that time period?
That was more like late
Pagers.
90s,
Late
90s.
Late 90s. We had
Early,
been out
early
of that by the
2000s. I said pagers. I was like, I still had a pager in 2003, so I didn't get my first cell phone until 2000.
Yeah, when did cell phones start becoming like more of a mainstream thing?
I think like 2005.
Yeah.
So why has nobody mentioned the 4x3 tube TV yet? Because
CRT TVs, yeah.
because
They were already gone by 2003.
Yeah, but you couldn't get a 32-inch LCD back then was like $2,000.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, no, we had a step between.
$2,000.
I know.
We had a step between CRT and flat screens. It was the rear
Projectors.
projectors, yes,
Yeah.
that were heavy as hell.
Oh my gosh, yes. My
Yeah.
father.
Yeah,
And
those are the ones when like pizza joints were like classy and shit. You'd go to like pizza joints and they would serve you on a platter, and having a pizza was like a gourmet meal back then when you were a little kid. You were like, this is that. They always had that
What
big
pizza
ass
place were you
700.
I'd really like to know.
Really? Which one?
No.
like I remember we had this place called Rod's Pizza in Sassoon, and it was like a local pizza joint, but they always had the big ass projectors that like always one of the colors were always just a little bit fucking off, so it looked like it was trying to go 3D, but it wasn't.
I don't.
I mean, sounds like an exhilarating experience, man. I can't share the
No, but
same
here's
with you. I mean,
Dan, here's the weird thing, and we caught this watching Home Alone last Christmas. 30 years ago,
AOL, Matzo,
Yeah.
thank you.
AOL.
30 years ago, a large pizza was $13. Today, a large pizza is $13. That's weird as shit.
No, I call shenanigans.
Yeah,
if I
that's
order a
really in
large
Florida.
pizza from Round Table, it's like $40 now.
Well, that's also Round Table. That's like the gourmet shit.
Unless
Okay.
you like,
Is it?
Little Caesars
Is
at
it,
the party.
though?
The Hut. What I'm saying is the Hut. You ordered a pizza from the
No.
Hut 30 years ago, it was $13. Today, it's still $13.
There you go.
It's not.
Speaking of the Hut, Pizza Hut salad bars.
Oh, Wendy's salad bars.
Yeah, though. They
Yes.
Salad bars still exist.
No. I'll do you one better. Crystal Pepsi.
Ah!
Oh shit.
Didn't care about then. Don't care about now.
Yeah, this is also true.
Yes.
No, okay. So on
Well,
a
the
serious
$20
note, with
the
this subject,
$20 bill could actually get you a lot more back then than it
it's
could.
very true.
Gas.
Inflation's a factor.
89
But, okay,
cents
so
gas.
Gas used
20
to be under $2.
Under
20
$1.
years ago versus today, I will say that people were a lot more connected on a personal level. It wasn't all digitized like it is now.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
Social
were heading
media was
out.
not nearly the presence that it was. You still had friends that you hung out with on a regular basis. I mean, I remember back then, me and my friends, because we were, somewhat broke and didn't really have it much to do. Middle of any night, we just go to Walmart to walk around and just kind of be stupid
24-hour Walmart.
hooligans.
Oh, malls.
Yeah.
Malls were still
Malls were still a thing. So, I mean, there's a lot more physical interaction with people on a more personable level. You spent more time with them. And the way that you used to communicate with them would be more like a direct line through a phone number. Again, this was back when, you didn't have unlimited data. It was just like after 7 p.m. you could call or text and it wouldn't hit your minutes or whatever. I remember having the little sidekick, the little flip open phone that I could text on. I miss that bitch.
I
loved
would
having
take a
that
sidekick
full
right
on
now.
keyboard. Just
I loved my little brick phone because that thing, like, if it fell, it would like go into a million pieces. You could just put it back together, still work.
yeah.
I loved that thing.
And that's
That
another
was
thing on that
amazing.
point, Aubrey, is stuff lasted longer back then.
Yes,
Yes.
it
You know,
absolutely
it
did
was-
because it didn't have planned obsolescence.
Well, yeah,
Correct.
it was meant to last longer. Like if you paid good money for something, it would last you 20, 30 years. Nowadays, it's like you paid pretty good money for something. Well, it's going to be obsolete in the next 8 months.
Yeah.
Which is why I fucking hate the iPhone. I hate the iPhone with a passion. People keep on trying to tell me it's better. It's so much better. You just love it. It's better. And then I got one and I fucking hated it because it's not better. It's something that people convince themselves of. And again, you need an upgrade every several months to where, we made a slightly different camera. Look at this.
You're slowing down your battery on purpose.
Pay us $2,000 for it. There you go. We got a new one next month. Like, I hate that stuff.
I mean, again, like you had Steve Jobs, then you have Tim Cook, who's a hack. I said it. I don't care. I said it. Tim Cook is a hack. Or
she said that shit.
But yeah, like online bullying wasn't as big of a thing. Like we didn't have quite the present. A little bit, but not everybody had great internet access. Again, I grew up in the countryside with dial-up, and I wasn't even allowed to go on it unless it was for like a book report. And granted, it's because my mom was one of those people that like, no, if you end up in a chat, you're gonna be someone's target because you're just too naive, son. I love you, but no.
My mom wasn't that though, because I was always on the Facebook chat.
I didn't get to do any of that until like after I graduated. So that was stupid arm. Other than that, as far as 20 years in the future, I do feel like we are going to go more into that digital matrix like era where VR is going to become a bigger thing, where we're going to become more immersive into this like alternate reality.
What do you think is
it's going to be like Shadowrun
or popular thing that we use right now that's going to be obsolete in 20 years?
Facebook.
Hopefully, memes. Hopefully.
Memes are amazing. Shut your whore mouth,
what are you talking about?
Those are great. They didn't hurt nobody.
You're touching on some personal nerves there. What else? I mean, it's so hard, like, because I can't even imagine like 20 years ago that we had any way to depict. I mean, I really think. Do you think jetpacks will be a thing by then? Do you think we'll finally have a goddamn jetpack?
We kind of have some of those now.
Well, yeah, we have people that have prototypes of shit. And I mean, there's people using it. I think in 20 years, maybe it'll become more refined.
I think it's going
to
be
whether
more
the
like
average person can use it. Who knows?
Like you'll be able to do an excursion where you get to put on the jetpack and then like fly around like part of a bay for 20 minutes.
I mean, hell, we got people.
Like World War III, so we
got people talking to the watches now. They were doing that in like Spy versus Spy and shit, or
Get Smart.
Oh God, what was the
Get
guy?
Smart.
Get Smart, exactly. I mean, these are all things that we've been dreaming about for years, and that's come to pass, right?
Hi, I want my flying car, please. That was promised 20 years ago.
I want my hoverboard.
Yeah,
I mean, that
hoverboard
exists. They just don't exist at a reasonable rate.
In that capacity. And even then, if I got on the current day hoverboard, I would instantaneously crack my skull open. Not gonna lie. Like I can't even get on a regular skateboard, let alone a motorized one that all I have to do is like shift my weight slightly. Like fuck these 12-year-olds that get on there like, there's no problem, zoom. Like I'm gonna get in my roller skates.
Yeah, somehow I do think WWE will still be here 20 years from now.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
How do you think entertainment's going to change? Like, will movie theaters exist?
Yes, I don't think that that's going anywhere anytime soon, even though streaming services have kind of ruined the movie experience for the most part. Like, everything's available so quickly after, like, why even go? But there is still something to be said about going and experiencing a movie in a big screen format, in a theater format, because of the movie. I know Eli is like chomping at the bit for Little Mermaid drop. It's the only Disney remake I'm going to give a fuck about. I'm not going to lie. All the other ones are terrible. I'm hoping that this one's good.
You can only hope.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of guided him to specifically not watch most of the content that's been leaked because I'm like, dude, you're going to ruin your movie experience. Like, you don't want to see everything before you go see the thing. So just like we've seen the trailer, that's great. That's enough. Anytime something pops up on TikTok or anything else, skip it.
I was so looking forward to the Lion King remake, and then I saw what it was, and I couldn't.
Oh no, I instantaneously hated the Lion King remake because they're like, oh, it's the live action one. It's
CGI.
computer generated imagery. So no, it's still animation. It is still animated.
Still animation.
And
it's boring animation.
Boring animation.
Boring.
Thank you.
As soon as I got to watch, I started watching some of that stuff. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. No, if anything, I'm hoping that's what does go away in the 20 years in the future. No more remakes. Can we just go back to writing new?
Who was it? Legit Jedi has a comment here that I think is actually kind of appropriate for discussions that are happening right now. Mm-hmm. We have the writer's strike going on right now in Hollywood, and the big sticking point is that the major theaters will not concede. They will not promise that they will never use AI generated script writers. Yep. That's the big sticking point. But what about, do you think in 20 years, what is going to happen with, I mean, we could have Carrie Fisher live on forever. You know what I mean? She could, and who knows, in 20 years, the technology will probably be so good that you won't be able to distinguish. I mean, we have a bit of that uncanny valley now when we watch Rogue One, but probably in 20 years, the technology is going to be so good that you won't be able to indistinguish whether it is the real Carrie Fisher or an AI generated Carrie Fisher.
Give it 2 years at the rate it's advancing.
Yeah.
2.
Right.
That's true. They now can do AI generated voice. That's what they did for Val Kilmer for Maverick.
Well, even New Rock Stars, I just watched earlier. They did a deep dive on AI generated, and Eric Voss went and kind of did this. He generated himself basically and had it make a fake script. And it looked bad. Believe me, you could definitely tell it wasn't real. But I could really think, man, in just a few years, it may be harder and harder to distinguish.
So here's something that's really interesting from a music perspective, from a singer perspective. Auto-tune is now a standard industry thing back as opposed to 20 years ago. It was not nearly as much. So a lot of singers that you saw before the 2000 or 2002, 2003, now it's just standard. Whereas there are only a few that actually used it, and it was really noticeable. Like Britney Spears, they actually auto-tuned her voice quite a bit. But now that's so standard that you can't even tell. They can pitch correct and auto-tune the voice to where you can't even tell if that's the real person's voice or if it is an auto-tune version of their voice. It's so people who are not great singers, you could be given the illusion that they are. And now it's people, when they are not using auto-tune, a lot of people think it's really weird or off key.
The remake of Beauty and the Beast was guilty about that.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I hate that movie.
That's the first thing that came into my head. Auto-tuned Hermione.
Les Mis. Or Les Mis. Les Misses.
Don't get... Okay, they didn't auto-tune that one. That was their problem, is that they let everyone live sing it, and I'm sorry, they fucked that musical hard. I had to go into that experience as a movie. Like, Les Mis is like one of my top 3 favorite musicals.
I felt that way about Phantom of the Opera. I had to walk out. I couldn't.
Phantom of the Opera was tolerable, even though Gerard Butler was the worst fucking choice for that character.
It was the worst. I was so angry.
I was like, he's not supposed to sound like a fucking rock star. I don't know what.
And he's not supposed to be out of key. He's not supposed to sound that way. What is wrong with you?
But with Les Mis, I mean, they tried something very ambitious with the whole live singing. The problem is that they focused too much on the star power, and then they really, unfortunately, did not respect the craft of singing by having people like their lead characters, be dehydrated severely or sing for 8 hours a fucking day and not take care of their vocal cords. So it produced this really shitty rendition of what should have been a great experience, and then changed lyrics randomly for no fucking reason. Like something about the itinerary I'll never forget in that opening scene with Javert. I'm like, that is not the fucking line. It's you get your yellow ticket of leave. I know, I played the fucking part. So yeah, like auto-tune in itself is kind of shady and stupid. it does also make everyone kind of blend into this generic sound of like boy voice and girl voice. Like there's certain songs by Justin Bieber that I had no idea were Justin Bieber until someone told me, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's definitely a computer singing as him, but cool. Yeah, Britney Spears was definitely guilty of it back in the day, but I also look at that as a big factor of her being a dancer over anything else.
Well, the sad thing is you see ones where she was younger, when she was younger, and
she's actually got a really good
natural voice. Great singer.
So they put her into that character of like this little, princessy poppy thing. Which I mean,
the baby voice when she was like, the baby voice lower. Can I actually, because she's like, it ruined her voice. It
did. Versus, Christina Aguilera, who came out at the same time with this bombastic voice that you never thought would come out of a white girl for sure. And then, of course, we had American Idol. As far as the AI writing scripts and whatnot, this writer's strike, I remember we had a writer's strike, I feel, about 20 years ago. And you know what that led to?
2007, 2008.
Yeah, it led to the rise of fucking reality television and how terrible that shit is.
But we did have it already because we had, what did we have? We had the Real World. We had, didn't Jersey Shore?
Jersey Shore came out as a result of that writer's strike.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right.
That's what gave those people credence to come and be like this big thing. And even then, Jersey Shore's a terrible fucking show.
No, I know. But we had Survivor, which was actually pretty great. You had the Paris Hilton show, which was awful. That was around in 2003.
I mean, yeah.
But then
I'm not looking forward to AI writing scripts, but if it does result in some original storylines, I mean, maybe if somebody goes over and edits it, that'll be fine.
But I also think, like in the quarantine was a great time to give rise to like YouTubers and original content that maybe wouldn't have gotten any highlight because it's getting overshadowed by everything that's going on with Hollywood. Smaller content creators like us who, don't have a big Hollywood budget, but still have, have a show or, a story to tell.
This is true, but I do feel like a lot of the biggest ones I see consistently are reactive. So it's people like reacting to videos or responding to other people's videos. And like, that's their content creator thing. Like it's even made me think of the other day, we always talk about the Q view. That could be the thing. I just react to random cringy ass TikToks and drag.
Right. It totally could be.
Bitches for filth, for fun. That would be a great source of entertainment for people, I'm sure. But again, a lot of it's also people just like playing a video game and reacting to that game.
But then
even people do that, put together a show and tell a story.
When we went to dinner with Eric Voss,
shots fired. I know. Sorry, Forrest.
No, it wasn't. I'm just. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. I thought us playing video games and doing voices was fantastic.
It is fun. It's totally fun. I'm just saying we should also be those multi-million-dollar YouTubers if that's the case.
But real quick, here's the difference. All right, the people who play the games have thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, but the guy who sits there and bitches and cries about the game has millions of views and subs. That's where I think the injustice is. You got the person who's going to be like
a few million, and he doesn't bitch and moan and cry.
I mean, I'm never, and Graveyard knows this. I am never, ever going to let this go. But freaking Angry Joe, I'm never going to let it go.
You mean Channel Awesome?
Huh?
You mean Channel Awesome? Angry Joe is part of Channel Awesome. Yeah, nostalgia critic.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm guilty of watching a lot of his shit back in the day.
I did.
I have no idea who he is. I assume he's angry.
Did any of you take my recommendation and watch that trippy ass Jack and the Beanstalk movie?
No,
I didn't.
No, I totally forgot about it. No,
it's an anime from like the 1970s, and last time I was on here, I talked about this.
You did, and I wrote it down, and then I totally forgot about it.
I watched it last night trying to fall asleep, and it gave me one of the best lucid dream experiences of my life. I was in a giant castle of a house
Where
And
do I
fly
find this?
everywhere. It was amazing.
Where do I find this?
But yeah, no, Jack and the Beanstalk. It's like 1974, I think.
Yes, I know, but where do I find this?
YouTube.
It wasn't the
YouTube.
67 one?
Huh?
Was it the 67 one by chance?
67. Maybe it's an anime. It's an anime musical. It's very weird because the lip syncing does not match up half the time as far as the singing does.
Oh, it didn't.
But I think it's because it was also a Japanese dub.
Ah.
But it's a really trippy fever dream of a movie. I'm gonna look it up right now. Just
it's definitely 74.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's one that was done. I think we talked about this because we were talking about this last time, Anthony, and I just brought it up
1974
again.
Full movie. It's right there. First fucking thing. You got to watch it. I'm telling you right now.
I don't know if it was Mad TV for Saturday Night Live, but they did like the fairy tales, and I'm not sure. They did all these funny skits, and Jeff Goldblum's in one. There's the Three Little Pigs and Jack and the Beanstalk, and I remember mentioned it last time, but it's really funny when we were talking about it.
That sounds more like SNL than it would be.
It might have been SNL, but it had Billy Crystal in it. It had Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, then it's definitely SNL. If it had Billy Crystal in it.
It was really funny. I mean, the skits, they are hilarious. I couldn't stop. I can't stop laughing. But they're really good. Like, they're really well done, and they're very tasteful, but they're also like extremely funny. Like, I say a lot of things that are from those, like, to your left, go to your left. No, your other left. God, what a moron.
Does anybody know this? Christopher Walken, Country Bears.
Yes, Sewong. Yes.
I am not familiar.
So,
I mean, yes.
Do you want my prediction on what's going to happen in 20 years?
Yes,
I do, because you're the technology guy.
Oh, here we go.
It's all cyclical. Everything is cyclical in technology. It's every 20 years we go, hey, your computer needs to be connected to a wire to run the best. And then we go, you know what? No, wireless. Wireless is what we got to do. And we go, well, that's not really secure. We need to go back to wired because it's faster and more secure. So we see that. And I think in 20 years from now, yes, we will have this burst of AI generated content. I think that's absolutely going to happen. But at some point in time, we're going to go, you know what? We need to go back to the way we used to do movies.
Practical effects.
And we're doing that now with practical effects. We're absolutely doing that with especially action and horror movies, because the 90s were bad on those things for the CGI. It was awful for horror movies and stuff like that. And we still have some of that now. And I think we're going to go back to that cycle, just how we listen to more records now than we had in the past 20 years. That that cycle is going to come back, because it's going to be our generation is getting into this movie making, and when our generation gets into older, to the Steven Spielberg ages of it, that they'll go, you know what? We remember when we used to watch practical effects, when we revamped practical effects, and now we need to go back to practical effects. And I think the same thing is going to happen. We're going to have all this auto-tune, we're going to have all this crap that makes us look fake, and we're going to go, you know what? We don't want this anymore, and there's going to be a revolution that comes back to it. Back to what we have now.
Well, I mean, for that to happen, like, the Disney Corporation is going to have to eventually implode on itself.
We need to break up that, because it's going to become a monopoly. It already is kind of.
It already is, yeah.
Well,
and it needs to be broken up.
I legitimately wonder if we are entering into a Black Mirror-esque kind of horrorscape of sorts.
We're getting back to the Gilded Age of stuff.
I mean, if you watch that series in general, all of those things to me seem very plausible. Mm-hmm. Especially with the way that they talk about robotics, with how we can take the data of someone's psyche and like implant it into a computer. I believe fully that will be sometime in my lifetime, where I'm going to be able to download my consciousness into some sort of digital code and be input into a simulator and experience things through that. I mean, somebody floated the idea that are we already in the Matrix? And fuck yeah, we are. Hell to the yes, we are. I still don't know how my phone can delete people in the background and still have everything else in the background. because that shit's weird. That to me is a very strange tool that we have access to. That how does my phone know that it looks like that without those people there?
Because you're taking the picture of that background, and so is everyone else, and it's creating the environment around it based on everyone's picture. So it's creating a consolidated picture of every picture that's been taken at the Eiffel Tower, stuff like that, and it's putting it back into the background.
Mm-hmm.
That's
It's
so
a composite.
weird and
That's how they
creepy
do
shit.
composites are done that way.
Matt, let me ask you, how much do you think, because I know the technology exists right now, I think what has to change is the culture and people's attitudes towards it, but how much do you think robotics will start to be integrated into the human body?
More so than it is now?
I mean, we have amputees, right, that will use, robotic arms and limbs and things like that. We have people with legs cut off. They have those blade legs now. They're like sprinters and, athletes.
I'll give you one better.
When does it become a cosmetic thing versus a necessity?
I'll give you. We have pacemakers. Pacemakers is a machine,
right?
And it's been around for a very long time.
That's true. What about things like what if we get say robotics to help fix cataracts, to help people's
we have
eyes?
laser. We have laser now, so
exactly. They were talking about nano robots that could actually almost help us extend our memory because they would connect to like a mainframe and store our memories onto a mainframe.
Oh, now we're getting to some Metal Gear Solid shit right here.
I was gonna say in 20 years we're gonna be more like Shadowrun, where
I mean, do you think people will be accepting of that, and we will see that in 20 years?
Well,
I think
20 years.
I think
20 years.
Yeah,
I think right now we're in the age of the robotics. Of being metal. I think what we're working towards.
Hi.
I think what we're working towards is living tissue to do that instead.
Right.
That's what we're doing. Is people aren't going to go as of right now. Yeah, I can attach a wire to my nerve and maybe send an impulse and send electrical the signal because it's still ons and offs in our system, just like a computer is, and we can have that sensor. You can have your Luke robotic hand and be able to move the gears and all that stuff, right? But I think people will do it. It'll be back alley stuff. It won't be very good for the actual implants that you're talking about. But I think the way we're doing it right now, genetically, we're going to use your own cells and regrow the tissue so you can do the same exact thing, but without having a robot in your body. Because I think people inherently will not want that. Because you see people freaking out now about having microchips from vaccines in them. You think they're going to have something connected to your Wi-Fi inside your body? I wouldn't want that.
Younger,
but then
they can get you to you can actually go into virtual reality, and you don't have to have any big thing to go into. Yeah,
but we're starting to look at changes not only in technology but also the youth, right? I mean, youth may be more inclined to do these, and I don't know. I'm not speaking as youth, obviously, but I mean, I'm saying that they grew up with technology, whereas we were born into it, or we were there at its birth.
We were at the in between,
right? And so maybe there are people that going forward it would be more. And I often wonder with popular media. Sometimes are movies developed? Do they show us things so that they can start to prepare us for shit that we're going to start seeing? And so it's not so freaky when,
I mean, they did that for
people in real life
for years with having a black president before Obama. Just saying.
I knew it. I knew that shit was coming. I knew that
was
coming. There's a thing that if you really want to go the conspiracy route, we can go down the conspiracy route, right?
I got one.
That eventually, because we have essentially our electronics are already part of our bodies now, just externally to us. And the idea is that it would be internal, and that's what you're talking about. And like I said, I think that is going to happen, but it's going to happen so fast. And within 20 years, it won't be metal parts. It'll be the living tissue instead. Because what if you can go, I can have a robotic eye, great. But what if I can have my own eye back, but back to it's perfect.
See, that's
prop.
still part of Shadowrun though, because they would
Mhm.
clone parts of the body
Yeah.
so that they could.
Yeah, but
they
if
could
you had
put
the
it-
choice of having your own eye back or an eye that could like hyperfixate and focus on something 500
Super
feet in the
far
distance,
away.
or
Right, you're gonna have those people that are like super
Except-
soldiers and shit.
Except it won't be us; it'll be the elites.
Yeah.
So it
yeah,
won't
this
be
is
us.
also true. If you have money,
That's true.
Right.
Or
I
the
mean,
party
trust,
on
I would
your
love
own.
nothing more than to cut off my feet and have robot feet because I'm tired of my feet being an issue for me.
But the big conspiracy, the idea is that we always talk about. Here we go, conspiracy. The Greys, the aliens with the big eyes and the fingers and the big heads, is because we are evolving to look at our screens nonstop, so our eyes are getting bigger and people
Yeah.
are
Right.
bigger.
Yeah, they talked about that. Mhm.
Yeah,
On that subject, can I say the actress from the Queen's Gambit? I swear to God, she looks like fucking alien. She is weird looking. That
Right.
girl is strange.
I know some of the culture a hammerhead shark.
Oh, interesting.
But then, okay, let's. I mean, not to get, to go too far sideways, but if we've been having pictures, people have been describing grays since forever, right? The early 1900s. That description of what a gray, big head, big eyes, or whatever, long.
That's going to time travel, aren't you, Van?
Well, what I'm saying is, back then they didn't have the type of technology that we have now that would, I mean, if you're telling me this is what humans would evolve to look like grays because of how we integrate ourselves with technology, coming from the year 2023, I can totally agree with you. If you had told me that in 1910, I wouldn't have no idea the fuck you were talking about because TVs didn't exist, computers didn't exist.
The Greys didn't exist until the interracial couple highway story in the 1950s.
Is that the first?
Mm-hmm. That's everything else was little green men from Mars. It was never Greys. If you go back to the classic sci-fi,
Roswell was green.
It is not the Greys that you see in classic sci-fis.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it is that couple that was abducted on the highway in the 50s that said, this is what they look like. And because of that, this is what we see. Before that, all aliens were green or a little different of looking offshoot of human, not humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan.
Right. So, I mean, yes, technology is going to get inserted into our bodies in one way, shape, or form. And there's going to be people like me to go, don't do that because you can hack it and then I can control you.
Yeah.
Once again, Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 4 here.
Shadowrun.
Nanobots was
Ghost
a
in the Shell.
big factor in that storyline.
Ghost in the Shell, Shadowrun, all that.
I can see that being a thing.
Blade Runner.
Well,
replicants.
I think next logical progression of what we're doing is what Google Glasses tried to do is the heads-up display. Yeah. Right. And that would be tremendous if you're able to go, hey, I need to find the store. And what if a little map, what for us, if you're able to point at the ground, a little blue line goes across, and you're able to follow it to your next destination point.
Right.
And follow a map in your head. What if you were able to go to you're able to a outdoor shopping mall that still exists, and you can look at this QR code and it goes, I need to go to this store, show me the path to get to the store.
Right.
I think that's the next logical progression of the technology integration into with what we do. Is that?
I'm sorry, I got so distracted by Anthony's cat.
He's a little pouty bitch. I'm not gonna lie.
And my cat's like, why pay attention?
Carrie.
What about things like being implanted with chips, correct. With identification, like country codes? It seems like we're getting closer and closer to that.
We have that in our wallets right now with our credit cards. They're RFID.
Mm-hmm. We have chips.
And in our cell phones.
Right, but how long do you think it'll be before it's in your hand?
I don't know about that.
I mean, it already exists.
Even the talk about people like turning all
proponents
currency to digital, I look at that and go, so how is that going to work with inflation? Because if it's a digital currency, you can't necessarily print more of it.
Well, and that's already happening in countries around the world.
No, right I know. And again, when are we just going to wake up and say, hi, this is a fucking figment of our imagination that we pertain value to? Can we just have it be like a thing that works for people?
Yeah,
Like,
well, you know, and
I
this
can
is
buy this
Star Trek
X
future
amount
thing?
with this kind of money, and then if I have this X amount of money, I can do this. Like,
this is this. Well, this was a whole. This was one of the topics that I had put out earlier, but like you know, I almost feel like I was rewatching The Matrix a little while ago, and then it made me think of a scene from Everywhere Always, Everywhere Everything All at Once, where they were talking about how do you feel like you're waking up and things aren't quite right, you know what I mean, like, and it's almost like this silent thing that everybody feels but nobody's talking about, like we're on the verge of something different and there's some things around us aren't quite right and something's going to change but nobody knows what it is and nobody knows how.
well, the
I feel like
Mandela
we're
effect speaks
preparing for
volumes
something
on
we
that
have no
already.
idea. Oh, sorry, what were we saying?
I said the Mandela effect kind of speaks volumes on that already. There's
Well,
so many
you
people
know,
that remember things like, no, it was this back then, and then you look at it now. Oh no, it's never been like that.
Like embarrassing.
I got to think even that was explained in the movie The Matrix. They say that they essentially, even before the term Mandela effect was coined, they called that was the glitch in the Matrix, right?
Deja
It was
vu.
when something in your past changes, and you know what I mean. So that's essentially the same thing in the Mandela effect. If you remember it this way, and a whole group of people remember it this way, but something from your past fundamental changes, and you don't know how it changes. They talk about this in the book 1984. They talk about, you know, how, you know, if you can control the past, you can control the present. So it's very interesting to me how, like, I feel like, you know, I know every civilization thinks that they're the last and that, or that things are, but I really feel like some shit's about to go down.
So I have one. I have one for you all. Who remembers the movie Legally Blonde?
I remember it.
Okay, so what color is the car that she drives?
Pink?
I thought it was pink.
Yeah, it should be a hot pink car, right? Because they say, "Oh, who's Barbie?" Right?
Yeah.
It's script.
Isn't it
Apparently,
red?
it's always been black.
It's black.
What?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was like a champagne pink, but
no, it's always been pink. It was.
It was. Pink.
I remember this being a
I remember
car, but they're saying no. It's always been black. If you look at the video now, it's always been black. Why the hell would somebody say, "Who is this Malibu Barbie girl?" if she wasn't driving a fucking pink car?
Yeah, that's weird because my grandpa watched that movie all the time, like over and over and over again.
So there's, I feel like there is this fusion of two different realities that have happened. There's this conspiracy alert.
Well, and I mean, are we doing it to ourselves to some degree with the editing we're doing with like the Robert?
Well, no, there is
Robert
a
Dahl
conspiracy that the experiments that they've done at the certain laboratory with particle acceleration and the I think it was the God element or something.
Yes,
literally ripped this weird temporal fabric of reality and merged us with a different version of Earth. And so that's why so many things don't correlate. There's a lot of us that are from the original one, and then there's a lot of us from this one. And like another one of the big Mandela effects, apparently, where is your heart in your chest? Because I was always from the reality where it was slightly to the left.
It's
And apparently nowadays they say no, it's always been in the center of the chest, always.
Yes.
What?
So Graveyard, you're from this world. I'm from the other one. I'm telling you this. If you remember black car and center of your chest is your heart, I'm from the different Earth.
It's always been here.
Right. I thought it was slightly to your left because I thought you were supposed to sleep on your right side
for
the best, like
when you get open heart surgery, where do they cut you? Right down the sternum.
But the reason why they do that is so they can
break open the rib cage to get to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's in the rib cage? Right against the rib cage. The lungs.
Your heart?
The lungs.
Oh, the lungs. Okay.
You have
what's in between the lungs?
That is your sternum. It's the sternum.
I'm not emotionally prepared for this shit tonight.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
but no, but that's what they have to do. But your heart, but underneath that, to the left of center is your heart. Your heart's right here in the body. It's not directly underneath the sternum.
Yeah, I thought it was slightly
but
to
this
the
is
left.
the easiest. But this is the easiest part to get into to crack it open because that's the easiest part that's going to heal. Because if you try going in through,
See, now I gotta find a Grey's
else.
Anatomy book from the 90s. Shit.
Like
Yeah.
that's why they do that. That's simple biology, though.
Still waiting on my question, man.
Yes, it sits.
Wait,
what
what question?
To the left, but I want to hear what Forrest thinks is going to happen in the future in 20 years.
Honestly, I really haven't thought about this until recently because I've kind of been enlightened on a few things a lot over this past year. Shut up.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't want to hear your apologies. You stop it.
Boys have penises and girls have vaginas.
So what
I guess not in this age.
what I've been observing, especially over the past 5-ish years, is that mental health is driving the bus right now.
Yeah,
it really is. And as far as eventualities are concerned, I can see the AI push being very, very strong here in the beginning. But I think what's going to happen is that we are, and Anthony, you're going to love this one. We're going to end up in Chobits. We're going to end up because what's going to happen is right now we have AI programs that are still learning our thought processes, and many, many, many people suffer for many, many different things. And it's going to take a long time for the entire human psyche to be figured out. But eventually the stuff's going to get on our phones. And then we're going to have this time where we're going to go into VR. But that's going to run its course because, again, Graveyard says everything is cyclical. So people are going to get tired of living in a virtual world. So what's going to happen? They're going to want to bring the virtual into actual reality, which is where maybe 20 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 30 years, we're going to end up with persicoms. And this is where mental health is going to drive the vehicle. Rather than us figuring our shit out and having real friendships, real relationships, we're going to teach our young that what's going to be acceptable is they will be able to pick out the type of friend, coworker, or lover artificially and synthetically that they feel that they need to walk through life. Therefore, we will have synthetic beings. We will have persicoms. We will have little chobits. And it'll start on the black market. It'll start in the deep dive. It'll start with the perverts, unfortunately, because that's how it's rolling. But eventually, we're going to end up, rather than having human relationships, it's going to be human synthetic relationships. Whereas if your child can't cope with humanity in society, let's get them a persicom so that their companion will give them all the comfort and safeness they desire.
I feel like the Haley Joel Osment movie did this already too.
It was Chobits, Anthony. It's where
I never watched Chobits.
Lonely guys and lonely girls are going to end up falling in love with their persicoms because that persicom is going to give them everything they think they need. It's going to meet them on an emotional level because, again, what's driving the bus right now? Mental health. How are we trying to save lives right now in America? Through mental health. We're trying to lower the suicide rates. We're trying to get people to feel like they're worth something. And everybody, Mrs. Forrest, everybody has a trigger.
A big factor of improving mental health would be improving the quality of life by not having people live paycheck to fucking paycheck.
Truth. Truth.
So they're gonna be looking in the wrong places for that because
what happens when people get what they want? They look for the next thing that they want.
Yeah, that hole never gets filled.
Correct. Yeah. So it's like okay, so now so now my financial needs are met. Great. What else can I bitch about? Oh, well, I'm not being met this way. I'm not being fed this way. I'm not being challenged this way. Well, nobody I know.
That. I mean, because
nobody let me finish really quick. Nobody, again, general. Nobody I know or nobody loves me. Nobody likes me. Nobody this. Nobody that. I'm gonna build my lover. I'm gonna build my partner. I'm gonna program and build my companion. And we're going to lose sight of ourselves, and we're going to lose sight of each other. And it's quite literally going to be the town with no people.
But the problem is that if you get exactly what you want in a lover when you get a persicom, the problem is that they're programmed to do it exactly what you want, then they don't challenge you. And you can go to sleep. Then you're still not happy.
Right. So what do? You program the next challenge in. Okay. And it's all about convenience. And it's
I guess that's true.
And that's kind of where I think it's eventually going to end up, because we will deep dive.
No,
we're gonna deep dive straight in.
Yep.
He's not wrong. He's not.
Oh no, there's gonna be anime characters that are gonna be bought and sold just because of that. Like,
unfortunately,
I need to date this character because that's my dream girl. I want a Rei Ayanami all of my own.
And you know what? And what they'll do is they will utilize real world issues to push it and say, oh, well, human trafficking has gone down because people can just build what they want now. People's needs are being met through these persicoms. Therefore, we don't have to traffic, boys and girls and women and all these victims, because we can build persicoms.
You could fuck a child bot.
I wasn't going to say that, but
that's what it sounds.
But that's going to be one of the first ugly, disgusting truths, and it sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, they already have sex bots.
I was watching.
What do you think?
I was watching a really interesting documentary earlier today on YouTube. I actually almost sent it out to the group just because I thought it was a different take I hadn't heard before. But they were talking about like the rise of the Karens and like how quickly we are to videotape things and always look to be the victim nowadays, and where that came from. And what this person was arguing was that this actually started in 1995 when we started to see the rise of hover parents that were like, that was when you started to get the, everybody wins a medal and everybody participates is a winner.
Trophies.
Right. Yeah. What they were saying is that at a time period when the media had us scared about crime, it was actually the lowest crime period in the country's history, but parents were no longer comfortable. He was saying, he was like, if you ask people of a certain age, if I ask people in this room who are 40 years old or older, how old were you when you went outside to play with your friends? Well, how old were you, Grave?
5.
You were 5, right? I was about 5 years old. We had neighborhood friends. Any of you guys, Tony, Anthony, you're saying 7?
Yeah, roughly. I mean, I 5, I was like still playing out at like the preschool that I would go to, but like I wasn't allowed to kind of wander off with my friends without supervision until about 7 or so.
Right. So he was saying that if you ask that same question to people that are age 30 and younger, a lot of times they'll say that they didn't get to go out and hang out with their friends until they were like 10, 11, or 12. And what he was saying was that early age, when you learned, you were just out there with your friends, so you had to learn how to deal with conflict. You had to learn with how to get together. There wasn't a parent or anything to mediate. But in 95, when we started to have the hover parents, instead of working things out with other kids because they missed that whole developmental age, they were taught to seek out an authority figure first. Instead of dealing with things on one-on-one, they were taught to seek out an authority figure to get them to figure it out, which is why.
But yeah, the people that are the most entitled are people that are actually older, that are 50 years and older. They tend to be the most entitled.
Well, no, okay. People 50 years and older tend to think that they are the best generation, and they are the ones that have tanked this fucking country into the ground. And then,
exactly. That's what I think is hilarious.
They are delusional people, but I don't think that they are necessarily the most entitled. They just think that they're the best. And we see a lot of entitlement with the younger crowd now, because even recently there was a video that surfaced where a girl got pissed off because somebody came into their work and it said, hey, what are your pronouns? Because you look like a they, them. And she goes, the thing that makes me upset is that he's actually right. So it's like you can't win with this current culture because they literally are just looking for something to get upset about.
Well,
because
and part of
there aren't
that,
those coping mechanisms. I need something to make me feel endorphins, so therefore I'm looking for the next thing that pisses me off.
Yeah.
So those are the people that will comment the most in the comment section, go battle with you back and forth about, no, you're absolutely wrong and you're terrible, this and this and that, because they want that fucking high. They need that drive to have conflict, because there literally is none in their growing life. Their parents placated everything. They always got coddled. They always got an award. They always got this and that. So when they're ever met with any actual conflict of opinion or challenge, suddenly it's the end of the fucking world. And well, now we gotta be outraged. Always outraged. And even when they get what they want, well, now I'm pissed off. I got what I want. It's literally I don't know what the
not wrong.
I guess that's true. I guess to a degree that is fair. That's true.
Well, so, I mean, I think
there is that. Why when we have a fight, is this when anyone younger that age, just if anything, it's like, if I disagree with you, why are you always attacking me?
Right. Yeah, and then the same thing, like you were saying,
like,
with
I'm
the people who are 50 and older, they look at us like, oh, you're such a lazy generation. None of you are homeowners. Bitch, you bought your house for like a basket of raspberries on a fucking summer shop. Shut the hell up. I did not get to buy a house and a car and start a family when I was 23, because literally my economy doesn't allow me to do that.
Our economy crashed
3 times.
Everything went up astronomically.
Yeah, I can't afford a 2-bed, 1-bath for $418,000. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they say nowhere in the country can you survive on minimum wage.
No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well,
it's supposed to be the livable wage.
If I pack it up and come move out there, I'm gonna need a fucking roommate. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
Probably gonna need 3.
Roommates is a testament to just how hard I work my ass off on.
Well, see, Forrest, you can build your perfect roommates to go with you to California.
Yeah.
Perfect roommate.
Go work this minimum wage job and bring me home a check, bitch.
And don't eat any of the food. Don't use any of the utilities.
No, they'll just be plugged into the power source. That's fine.
Don't ask how I make my part of rent. Just shut the hell up.
I want to go back to Forrest's question. What do we think about the building of these friends? Do you think it'll be our generation? Do you think it'll be our kids, or even the generation below that?
Grandchildren.
No, I don't know.
I want to say we'll reach Persicoms within 30 years.
30 years? You think it's gonna be that long?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like with the acceleration of technology, with how fast everything's going, and things keep speeding up faster and faster. They say we're gonna reach singularity by 2040. You know, I don't think
like
it'll take
in the next 20 years we're going to have a massive crash of internet worldwide, where like nothing works for like 6 months and everyone's going to lose their fucking minds.
I mean, you and I are going to destroy each other.
Well, yeah, they can't get everything instantaneously, and it's going to make everyone crazy, and it's going to turn into The Walking Dead, but like it's just dead cell phones.
Well, like, get your firewood and green bean seeds now.
Just get off the grid. Everyone get off the grid. Go buy a plot out in, like, I don't know, Arizona in the cuts, or Colorado. Who knows?
Yeah, probably not in the desert.
I don't know. I have a much more hopeful look at the future. Well, I have both simultaneously.
I have a hopeful feeling. I know we can do it. I just don't have faith in my fellow human beings that we. And it's not even faith in my
enough, right?
Or it's not even faith in my fellow human beings. Like they were saying, what was it? I heard like 26 people own like 40% of the world's wealth, or something like that. Mm-hmm. 26 people do. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like we're gonna have that Star Trek society. I wish we could have a benevolent leader who really cared about all of us equally, but that shit just ain't gonna happen.
No, because they'd rather have us fighting over stupid superficial shit
while they get to reap all the benefits. Yep. I mean, what is the benefit for them to have us all well educated? Because a well educated nation is one that can take care of themselves and can see through bullshit.
Well, yeah, that's why they started dumbing everything down.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
that's all stupid workers.
I mean, they have to create Republicans somehow.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of scary. I mean, I hadn't really thought about it until now, but like all the things that make us the most money are the things now. Like it seems like the stupider you become, the more money you have the potential to make. Right?
What the hell have I been saying for a year?
Well, what?
Why is Florida man getting $2 million a month?
I don't know.
Whereas the person who is literally writing the code for the next big AI thing, making $30, $20 an hour.
Hey, that chick that put Gorilla Glue in her hair got a clothing line.
Do you have any idea how rich Cash Me Outside Girl is?
I was just gonna say that was my next example. Bad Bunny or whatever her name is. Dude, the dumber you are, it seems like
the more you get rewarded for it.
The more you are rewarded for it. And it seems like things are getting stupider and stupider, and the rewards are getting higher and higher. And what does that do? In fact, we had a student that was in the refocus rooms today, and I was talking to him about, he's like 19 years old, and I was like, so what are you gonna do? He was saying how he's not gonna get a job, and I was like, well, how are you gonna get money? Well, I'm gonna go live with my mom. Okay, well, how is she getting money? I feel like there's a big disconnect. He feels like he's going to be a TikTok star, but he doesn't know how he's going to do it. He has like no talent or no ambitions. He just knows he's going to be a
make
TikTok
it in this
star.
fucking society, because there's plenty of talentless people that are famous and make way too much fucking money too.
Correct.
I mean, look at the entire cast of Jersey Shore.
Yeah, fair.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is what when we see these people with no talent, no ambitions, and no brains making a ton of money, it's only going to make our youth want
conspiracy alert. That might just be the powers that be doing that kind of stuff to make us again continue to fight and argue amongst each other, and to make us want to be stupider.
Right.
Because if those are the things, well, I could just be a dumbass on the internet and make millions of dollars. Well, I guess I'll just do that. Why would I work hard and try hard if I'm never going to get anything except people exploiting me for it?
And this is why when we have the discussion about the links between the record industry and the prison system, I didn't think that was necessarily a big conspiracy stretch. Because when you, like Aubrey was even saying earlier tonight, music has the ability to control you and to would be the music of your soul, right? So if you can control a music, and if you can control a class and control people's thought processes through that music.
Well, I mean, in a sense, music itself has gotten dumber. I don't mean that. I don't mean that to be derogatory. I don't mean that to be. It's gotten a lot less complex.
Let me end on this, because this is actually very interesting. A suicide video will get taken down in minutes, maybe seconds. But a man with 4 million views slowly killing himself over the course of 2.5 years, going from 150 pounds to 750 pounds, and then dying, that will be allowed to remain on the internet. Is that not the same
how
thing?
How dare you fat shame that person?
I will tell you
that's totally a viable living option, don't you know?
But wait.
Is it?
Wait, hold on.
I said that sarcastic.
Before we go on too far, YouTube literally just passed new rules about content coming up that has to do with that specifically. They were talking about how it was actually going to pretty much kind of obliterate the mukbang genre because there was going to be new restrictions on how food is shown, if it's shown in a healthy way or for educational purposes. But they were talking about videos that showed unhealthy eating, or like not just like you eating a candy bar, but like gluttony. Right, exactly. And it came directly because of videos like Nikocado Avocado, which I will say, by the way, did you know he's lost 89 pounds?
Yes.
He is actually, I've not seen he's still doing, I guess, the mukbang videos or whatever, but he has actually done some kind of an exercise program off camera to kind of help get himself backward, because he was a really thin guy when he first started.
He was vegan and he was very thin and
Right.
actually smarter. Like
right, but that
doing
wasn't
all those
getting him the
mukbangs and
views.
doing all that unhealthy eating actually has lowered his brain cells.
Right,
Like
but
it's caused emotional dysregulation. It's caused the weight gain. It's caused like cognitive function has dropped. It's, like you want to look at how the diet is so unhealthy. Watch that change of that.
Right,
it is an eye opener.
Right. All right, guys, we are right here at the end of the night. You know how we do what we do. So, Mr. Florida Man, let's start with you.
All right. I am the one and only Forz FX Saber Sound Designs. You can find my work on saberfont.com. If you go to kybercave.com, I encourage you, hell, I implore you, buy a Saber from kybercave.com and then go to Saberfont, get yourself a sound font from me or my friends, Juan Sith or Harry Solo fonts, respectively. Put that on your Saber and just enjoy it. If you head over to our sister channel, Distance Nerding, you're going to find me there on Thursday nights on the build, doing bracket stuff. Actually, Graveyard does the bracket stuff. I just throw in my 2 cents on it, but we have a really good time. You will find me assisting Graveyard on the Retro Alcove much more often starting now. Once Anthony's done with Rent, we're going to get back on 2 Queens and a Fours. We just completed, finally, Last of Us, and now we're going to be going into Last of Us 2. You can catch me and Graveyard and Mrs. Fours just going crazy on the gaming Thursday nights at 11 Eastern time. That is 8 Pacific time, where we are now going to be entering into what we're going to call it the new game era. So we're starting with Zelda. We're going into Diablo. We're going into Final Fantasy 16 and Street Fighter 6, which is going to be a lot of fun. And of course, you can find me right here on Kyber Cave After Dark on Friday nights. I love you guys. May the Fours be with you, and I will see y'all on Monday.
Woohoo! Mr. Graveyard.
Yes, I am Graveyard, co-host of the Mostly Pod Out Night Mostly podcast. And in 5 days, we will be partnered with ComicConRadio.com, so all our content will be exclusively there. So make sure to check that out. I'll be posting the first 3 episodes. I had it removed, so we have 3 episodes ready to go for the 18th. So make sure to check that out. Follow us on Pod Out at Night on all social media. We can talk all things horror. On top of that, you can find me Distance Nerding on Thursdays running the brackets. Awesome. Great time. Love it. And you can find me here at Kyber Cave Productions 4 days a week. 3 of them live. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with our new show, Saturday Morning Nerd Out. Check out Retro Alcove. And make sure just to check us out. Join our Patreon. Help us grow the channel. Help us create new content for you guys. We love what we do. We want to make sure the community loves what we do too. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe that. Also, join our Discord server. You can talk nerdy to us. You can talk horror movies with us. And we want to have more Discord community growth there as well. So if you have game ideas you want us to play in Retro Alcove or new games you want to see us play through and pre-record stuff. And, also see me get tortured more and more by games like, Lord of the Rings with this lovely lady over here.
I'm waiting for that.
So I'd like to thank you, Cavers, Dwellers, and Splunkers for joining us as always.
Woo! All right.
Hi, I'm the captain.
Miss Captain.
Yes. I am obviously with a lot of these people doing lots of lovely projects. Yeah. There's a lot that happens. I don't know. My brain said what? Okay. Man, why is this so hard right now? I am totally
You sing.
I sing. I do things. I write. Why is this so hard right now? I do this outro every time, but I suck at it.
Well, we appreciate having you here. I know you have been fantastic on Hearts of Kyber. You had stepped in for John, and now that John is back, you've actually we've decided we'd like to keep you on as a third host for the show, because I feel like you bring so much to that. So you were involved in so many projects, I can't even keep track.
We also have a new show that will be coming out soon called The New Order. I think that's where a lot of my brain power has been. So long. We will be doing more retro gaming, not just with with Lord of the Rings. But we also will be doing more of Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars.
Yes.
We will also be
Nice.
doing Mass Effect. We will be doing Silent Hill. And you can see me every Wednesday. Maybe not every Wednesday, but most Wednesdays, gaming with my girl, Agent M, also known as Mezzo, on Wednesday mornings, usually from 10 to 12. You can also see me with Mr. Force. We're going to be starting Last of Us 2. Yes.
All right. That'll be fun.
It's gonna get deep.
Yeah. And then, of course, when Anthony's done with his show, we'll be doing Two Queens and a Forest because he's amazing.
Yes.
And I want to be with him in all the shows. He's fun. And that's Maureen, thanks, buddy. Just ruined it. Yeah, I'm on Hearts of Kyber, and I will also be doing more projects. At the end of the month, I will be doing a fighting tournament in LA. So
let's go. Round 1. Fight.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I've not been training as much as I had been in the last few years. So
we got Lightspeed coming up if anybody wants to get in on that one.
So yeah, so you can find me here. I'm still doing music projects, still doing film projects. Yeah, so you can check it all out. I'm on Spotify. Yes, no, that's the captain.
Hey.
It's me. Hi, I'm Sidorian, aka Rubik's Cube Arcana. Sidorian!
AKA Love It!
AKA Love It's here. So yeah, you can catch. I'm happy I was able to make tonight. I tonight and next Friday I don't have a rehearsal scheduled, so I was like, "Yay, score! I get to be nerds with my friends online."
Yay!
Otherwise, you can catch me at the 3rd annual Lodi Pride, June 10th, hosting as Rubik's Cube Arcana. I believe I have Miss Captain Lady Moon coming to sing.
I am. I have to send you the tracks, so I'll get those to you.
That's fine. We still have a few weeks for that. Other than that, Rent will be opening at Stockton Civic Theater on June 15th. I'm really looking forward to that. It's one of those random dream roles that I never thought I'd get to play, but I'm hoping that it goes well. And then outside of that, be here for me entering my rebellious macho butch phase because I'm not doing drag as much. Graveyard, randomly enough, I happen to see your key tattoo on your forearm.
Yep.
I got the new word.
Yeah.
Oh,
love it.
Yes.
It is absolutely.
I got one too.
Yeah, my wife has the lock.
Oh, that's cute. I just saw how they were very similar, and I was like, "Dear God, if we have the same fucking key, would that be too fun?" But yeah, otherwise, it's always a privilege and a pleasure to be here with all of you as I ramble on with my stupid ideas, and I try to do more male cosplay as I can. This was the closest to Itachi I could pull together today. I'm sorry. If I could get around wearing contacts, I would, but dear God, it takes me an hour to put them in. Outside of that, those are the things that you're going to see me at here soon in the near future. And then once Rent is closed, I should be open to do more fun online stuff with all of you fun, fantastic people.
Q view.
The Q view. Let's just copy Charlotte Dobry and I'll just react to random cringy ass TikTok videos.
Hey, I'm all about it.
Let's do it. Start filing them towards me. Just give them to me. I'll dress up real pretty one day and be like, what the fuck was this bitch on? It'll be great. I can't steal her tagline of being petty though. That's her thing. I like her. She's fun.
You'll have your own tagline.
Right.
Yes.
Subscribe. No.
Hey, Rubik's.
Hey,
Shut the fuck
Rubik's.
up.
Shut the fuck up. Okay.
All right, I am Arc Excala at with Kyber Cave. My big thing, August 4th, we're gonna get. I'm gonna get as many heads as I can. I'm hoping that I can get Aubrey and Rubik's to come out to do the KCP booth properly this time. I did not intend for you guys to sell candy bars and T-shirts. That was not what was supposed to happen. I don't know how that happened, but I just want you guys to sit there and talk about KCP and sign autographs and shit. That's all I'm trying to have
What
you guys
date is
do.
this on?
August 4th.
Okay, I'll keep
It
that
is
in
a
mind.
Friday. It's going to be from 2 in the afternoon until 9 at night.
Ooh, should I buy a plane ticket?
In Sacramento, we're going to have a bunch of Star Wars actors there. It's going to be saber battles in the park, costume contest, best saber contest. we're actually going to have, because I've seen some of the TSL guys, they were asking, like, so we're going to have a fun saber battle that everybody participates in, but then we're going to have like a real, for real saber battle that so people can see what these things are all about. And so I've seen people talking about how much armor they need to bring out and all that shit. So I'm working on that. I'm excited about that.
It's actually a lot.
This Sunday, we have Akrev. His actual name is David Gonzalez, but he played Akrev in Jabba's Palace. He was the taiko drummer. He will be on Saber Rattle this Sunday night. So make sure to tune in. And I'm really hoping, guys, we can make this happen. Please share this and tell all your friends to subscribe, because we are only, today's Friday, right?
Yes.
So we are 13 people away from the next Saber giveaway.
What?
Nice.
I would love to give away a Saber on Mother's Day. So if we can get 13 people in the next day and a half, I can give away a Saber for Mother's Day. So please get the word out there, because that would be a great way to spend my Mother's Day.
Aw.
All right, guys. We love you all. Thank you for hanging out with us. We are waiting for Say Wong to get a show so I can come in and talk shit about him. We love you. I'm going to leave you with a little preview of our show for this Sunday, as Mez worked so hard to put it together. And we are out. We will see you guys next week. Peace.
Good night.